Waterfall, the CCW podcast.
Hello and welcome to Waterfall, the water saving podcast. This is a special episode of Waterfall because we have a heat wave and I can tell you it's hot. Hi Karen, is it hot?
It's very hot.
It's off the scale hot. I mean, I'm wearing shorts right now as we do this podcast, and I've had quite a few comments. It gets quite serious if I'm wearing shorts at work. Karen's laughing. I'm not used to this. We've not introduced ourselves yet, by the way.
No.
So I'm Mike, and I'm here with Karen. We both work for CCW, who are bringing you this podcast, as CCW are the Consumer Council for Water. We are the voice of water consumers. Now, this special edition is here because it is exceptionally hot and dry. And that does mean we have to watch out now more than ever on how much water we use. Taking water and using it in the home takes water out of the environment. And at this time, there is not much water available in the environment. And, you know, we're going to make sure that we share our water resources between people and the needs of nature. Absolutely critical. So what we're bringing you today are our top 10 ways to be cool, save water and money through being careful about your water use. So here's our top 10 tips. We had a big fight before the show on who does what, and Karen wrestled all the ones relating to gardening off me. So she gets to start. Number one.
Well, number one is to sit back and relax and turn off your sprinkler, because you can allow your lawn to go brown. It'll bounce back and turn green again as soon as we get some rain. And the important thing is that you can save the time that you would have been spending cutting the grass, letting it grow a bit longer.
Brilliant. Now, I've seen this in California firsthand, where they've obviously had a mega drought, which isn't just a made-up thing. It's not like the megabus. It's an actual thing. The mega drought has been lasting a long time, and they've had lots of tools and techniques and communication methods to help people save water. And one of the things they've got are signs for their grass. It says, brown is the new green. And they put these signs up on their lawn just to let people know, I'm deliberately doing this instead of having a beautifully manicured lawn. And you know what? Really, it's a simple, easy way just to kind of say, I'm doing my bit. So great first tip to kick off.
And I think it's fair to say that people don't appreciate just how much water sprinklers and hosepipes use. And often just leaving them running for an hour can use as much as a family of four does in a whole day.
That's unbelievable, isn't it? So let's move on to our second tip.
And what's that, Mike?
Let's go outside. What on earth is that about? Find your local lido or splashpad. Outdoor pools, absolutely fantastic way to muck about, splash around and cool down when it is boiling hot. And you know what? There's more of these around than you think. Lidos are making a comeback. I was just reading an article about this in the paper at the weekend. You know, a lot of them died a death in the 20th century. And but they're on a comeback, and they're a brilliant way on when it's so hot to just have some fun and cool down. And there's also splash pads. Now, splash pads is a thing that I think if you say to anyone over the age of 30, what's a splash pad? They give you a blank look. But it's a relatively new thing, and these are basically big play areas where water features squirting around to muck about, and they're absolutely brilliant for the kids. The thing is, right, they're also brilliant for the adults. But it's a bit weird if you're not bringing a kid with you to make muck about on the splash pad. But they are fantastic. And, you know, so just Google Lido or splash pad and it'll bring up the ones near you. I live in Birmingham. I was amazed, you know, when I put that in. The resources around here are fantastic. So put in, you'll find out your local area. And the other thing is, with the school holidays coming up, make a day of it. Make a day going to the Lido, making a day going to the splash pad. Brilliant entertainment for the whole family during the school holidays, fun and cooling down.
Sounds really good.
Have you ever been to a splash pad?
I can't say I have.
Well, maybe there's opportunities. So our third top tip is bring on the water fight. This is a brilliant way of having summer fun by getting wet, cooling down without the hassle of a paddling pool. You don't have to fill up the paddling pool. Just get out your water pistols, your super soakers, or your water balloons, and just start having that water fight. They use a fraction of the water a paddling pool uses. So it's a really low-cost way to have fun. It also helps. So if you have neighbours who are up for having a water fight too, I don't want to give a big shout out to Robert and Lara who live next door to me, because we have had some epic water fights. Again, possibly more for the adults than they were for the children, but a brilliant way of having fun and cooling down on those boiling hot days.
Be sure to head back through the archives and check out all the past episodes of Waterfall.
Right, well, I've got another tip for the garden. I would encourage anybody who hasn't already got one to invest in a waterbutt. Plants love rainwater more than they do tap water, and you can save yourself some money if you're on a water meter by utilising a waterbutt and rainwater on your plants. It's an easy and simple way to save a lot of water. And if you also make sure that when you are watering your plants, you're doing it in the evening when it's cooler, you're not going to lose as much water to evaporation as well. You can water them at the roots, at the base of the plant, and it's much more effective that way if you're using a watering can.
So Karen, you are just a mine of information, and you told me the fact that I wasn't aware of that plants prefer rainwater than tap water. I just was totally unaware of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the good thing, because water butts can be attached to shed roofs, downpipes from your house roof, and it's amazing just how much water they collect. So it's a really simple and easy way to really make a difference.
We had a really long dry spell in, I think it was 2019, and I reached day zero on my water butt, but it literally was after about a month of no rain. And I was amazed it lasted that long, and it was a great way of being able to keep my plants alive. And I only watered the plants, rather. I didn't water the lawn, because they got watered when you had your water fight. You see, it's all connected, isn't it? So that's great. That is great tips. We're halfway through now, our top 10 ways. That was great tips 4 and 5 for Karen on gardening. Have you got any more gardening ones lined up?
Well, I might have a bit later on.
Oh, she's keeping us in suspense here. Karen, just a teaser. Car washing. I do not like car washing. I'll be quite honest with you.
I don't actually do it.
No, nor do I. I get the car washed and I get the car service because they clean it too. It's like the most expensive car wash. You pay 300 quid for a service, but they wash your car. So basically, that's what I do. But some people love washing their car. Keep it nice and shiny. Impress your neighbours. Again, not quite sure why. But when it's sunny, you might have the urge to wash your car. Now, the best way to do that is the old-fashioned way, using a bucket of water and a bit of elbow grease. So put away that hose. If you're using a hose for car washing, that can take up to 500 litres of water. That is, again, just so much. 500 litres of water. That is 125 4-litre 2-litre cartons of milk, using my best preferred metric. But that's a lot of water. I mean, that is a lot of water. And man, just visualise that. 125 of those.
I know,
2-litre milk.
It's staggering, isn't it? It really is.
So, if you use buckets, if you just use 5 10-litre buckets, that's 10% of that water. And you can easily clean a car with that. So, what a difference that can make. Put away the hose, get your bucket out.
And there are some people that would obviously struggle to maybe use a watering can, because of mobility issues and things like that. But if you are having to continue to use a hose pipe on your plants, invest in one of those trigger sprays, because that way you can make sure that the water's really only being used to the best possible effect. It's getting to where the water needs to go in terms of watering the plant. And it's not running to waste.
So if you're using a hose and you're using a trigger, do you know roughly how much that might cut down your water use?
It's usually around about 50%.
It's true, isn't it? Because you're always like, when you're using a hose, you want to do something, even like stupid things like tying your shoelace. You just, I can't be bothered to turn the hose off. I'll just put the hose on the floor while I'm doing the other thing, and it's just squirting around everywhere. No, that's good. That's a really simple and easy tip to save water when you're using your hose. But put your hose away. That's the best advice. But I totally get there will be some people you can't lug around the bucket. Like my mum or dad wouldn't be able to lug around a big bucket of water. So we absolutely get that. So we're on top tip 8 now, which is make the most of your paddling pool. Now we've given you some alternatives earlier. Have your water fight, go to your lido, you go to a splash pad. But people love a paddling pool. My kids love a paddling pool. I get nagged to death to get the paddling pool out. I mean, the sun shines for like about 30 seconds and they're nagging me to get the paddling pool out. So paddling pools, if you're going to get it out, make the most of it. They can use quite a phenomenal amount of water. You can buy a paddling pool which uses 3,000 litres of water. That's not so much a paddling pool. That's an Olympic-sized paddling pool. You can do lengths of that. So, I mean, that is 5 times more than a family of 4 would use in a day. That's an incredible amount of water. So, if you're going to go down that route, make the most of that water. That's the key message there. Make the most of it. So, here's some top tips for making the most of your paddling pool. Cover it up when you're not using it. Or you can buy a lid or just put something over it, because then that stops leaves or grass or any sorts of stuff getting in it, which means you can then use it the next day. Another thing you can do, and just make sure you read the instructions, but you can get chlorine tablets, which then keep water disinfected as well. That are designed for paddling pools, so you can get those. Again, always read the instructions, of course, when you're doing that. But that will also kill some of the bugs that may develop in your paddling pool. But again, that allows you to keep the water in your paddling pool for longer, so you don't have to keep having to fill it up again. If you're talking about 3,000 litres, it's well worth trying to avoid having to refill that every single day. And of course, at some point, the hot weather will end, although at the moment it doesn't seem like that. But sometime it will end, and you will not want to use your paddling pool anymore. So make the most of that water. So you can use that to water your lawn if you're that way inclined, but you don't really need to. But use that to water your plants. Or one year, I got the kids to form a chain with buckets, right? And they transferred all the water from the paddling pool into the waterbutt, which had run dry, and they filled it back up. It was awesome. What a great way.
And a real team effort.
Yeah, it was good. I got some pictures of it, actually. But yeah, it was a great exercise to do. It kept them occupied too, which at the end of the day, summer holidays, that's my real currency, right? Does it keep the kids occupied? So that was a top tip 8. Make the most of your paddling pool.
This podcast is brought to you by CCW, the voice for water consumers.
Well, the next one from me is one good way of staying cool during these very hot, sultry nights, and that's by turning your hot water bottle into a cold water bottle. You can stick it in the freezer, wrap it in a towel, and put it under your pillow or next to you in the bed, and it will keep you cool all night.
I know people who do this, and they say it's great. I'm intrigued by this one. Have you ever tried it?
No, I mean, I must admit, I think having a fan running is usually the way I go with keeping cool at night.
Well, but that's an interesting point, because obviously a fan is another way to keep cool, though there's quite a lot of arguments about actually just blowing hot air around your room. So how useful is that? Not actually doing any cooling, it's perceived, well, it does cool your skin. But there's cost involved there. And, we've got a cost of living crisis, and running a fan all night is going to cost a chunk of cash.
Yeah.
So this is a good alternative there. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I want to check this out for myself. So we get to number 10 now. Finally, and this is my favourite. And this is my favourite due to its simplicity. So, simple and so satisfying. And my final tip of our top 10 tips is to get a refillable water bottle or just a jug, fill it with beautiful tap water, pop it in your fridge. Ideally, leave it overnight, let it chill, and then enjoy it the next day at your leisure. Chilled tap water is absolutely delicious. It's also low cost, it's healthy, and will help you cool down this summer. So always have that bottle of chilled tap water ready to go. My eldest daughter, who's 12, is so well trained on this. She puts her water bottle that she takes to school, she puts it in the fridge the night before. We have a glass bottle with a stopper that you can put in as well. And that's great because, dinner time comes, you can plonk that on the table and people can use that. It's fantastic and it's so good. And our water is so brilliant. I do not get why people would buy bottled water on a kind of daily basis. I was reading some articles in the paper about people it's something ridiculous. 20% of people will regularly buy and drink bottled water rather than tap water. So you do not drink tap water.
Yeah.
Now, you go, the cost, it's ridiculous. The cost of bottled water. It's got the plastic pollution issue and also the microplastics within the water from the plastic bottle. So, I would say, do yourself a favour. Steer clear of drinking bottled water from single-use plastics. It's not that clever things to do. So, get your water from the tap. It's amazing value. It tastes great. So that is my last and final top tip for staying cool this summer. Karen, any final thoughts from you?
Well, I think they've all been really brilliant ones. And I'd like to think that we've given people lots of things to think about and how to keep cool and save money this very hot heat wave.
Well, I predict that with the hot weather and my strange behaviour this evening, which I'll tell you what it's going to be, I'm going to be rummaging around trying to find my hot water bottle because I want to try that cold water bottle, and I'll be rummaging around creating chaos, in various different cupboards trying to find it. So, and with the temperatures being this hot, I can see the tempers may fray. So that might not end well, but I hope it will end well when I have a nice chilled hot water bottle, a cold water bottle, and have a nice calming night's sleep. Don't forget, there'll be show notes available. So we'll put all the information, we'll put our top 10 tips on there so you can find out more about this. So stay cool and join us again on the next edition of Waterfalls. Bye-bye from me, Mike.
And it's goodbye from me, Karen.